I'm Rosie Bell with IMN, and I'm joined by Peter Dilello, Senior Vice President of the Investment Management Group at Invitation Homes. Welcome, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, so to start with, what current trends is Invitation Homes seeing across its portfolio, being one of the leading single-family home rental companies?
Yeah, so I would start with saying that the fundamentals of the SFR space, and of course at Invitation Homes, remain incredibly strong. If we look at our occupancy metrics like our rent growth, how long our residents are staying in our homes, they are all stellar metrics for us. And so what you're seeing is a sustained demand for SFR product in the marketplace, and we think that trend is going to continue. The other thing that I would point out is that, really you can't talk about market conditions today without talking about interest rates and the impact that they're having on the housing market. And I think what that means for Invitation Homes is that if you look across our 16 markets, you have roughly, in all of our markets, I would say, it is more expensive to own a home than it is to rent a home. And that's by a factor of about $900 on average, on a weighted average. So I think what you're going to see in the current market environment is, as long as interest rates stay elevated, you're going to see more what I call structured residents that are coming into the marketplace looking for our product, and so that will just lead to more demand. And of course, I think the SFR operators are working very hard to meet that gap and meet those needs.
Okay, so how do you think Invitation Homes has navigated a challenging market over the years then?
Yeah, look, I think if we look at, as an industry, we've been around for, we're rounding out 11 years now. And so we're still a very young industry. And I think the resiliency and the strength that I alluded to, you've seen that happen, sort of manifest itself through, a number of ways. And I would say, at the top of that is really from our scale is been one of the biggest benefits that we've had. Our focus on location and asset quality, our focus on our resident, and the strength of our resident. Our average household income for a resident is $134,000, which is very high. So you have solid residents that are living in our homes, and of course that's really the strength of our business is maximizing that resident experience and just having an overall just benefits the business. But I would say, going back to location and scale, it's, our average footprint per market is about 4,400 units. That gives us a tremendous advantage in the marketplace. The more homes you have, the more you're able to spread, your costs. You have efficiencies across those units, and we're looking to grow those markets, grow into new markets. But that is how we're doing it. And I would say from an adaptability perspective, that's another strength I think for us as a company is being a young company in a relatively young marketplace. I think that being flexible and adaptable to changing market conditions is key to being successful.
Okay, well, you mentioned they're growing into new markets. Where does Invitation Homes' current priorities lie in terms of growth?
So I would say that I would put it into two buckets. I would say internally and externally, right? So the external is pretty easy. We simply want to add more units to the business unit, to the platform, and that could take a number of different forms. So in the current marketplace, unfortunately, the resale market has been incredibly challenging for the past 3 quarters. There's been very little activity for us. I think a lot of SFR operators have had that same challenge. I would say the vast majority of the opportunity has really been in the new build space, working with builders. I know we'll talk about that more in a bit. But so externally, it's very simple. We want to continue to grow, adding more homes into the portfolio. I would say internally, there's a lot of still, even though we've made a lot of headway over the last 11 years, I still think there's a lot of opportunity for us to become even more efficient with how we're managing our properties, how we configure our property management solution. Technology is a big component for what's really changed our business. So we're looking to improve all of those and have internal growth as well. to allow us to continue to grow externally.
Okay, so looking kind of at build to rent now, it seems that an increasing number of single family rental companies are advancing build to rent operations. So where do you see the opportunities there?
Yeah, and I think it's pretty simple, right? I think I mentioned that the one-off market, the MLS market, we kind of use those terms interchangeably. It's been there's very little inventory right now. In fact, it's the lowest that we've ever seen it. And when you have a very specific buy box that you're targeting, it makes that very challenging. And so if you want to grow, your options are to work with in partnership. In Invitation Homes' case, working with home builders and strategic partnerships, and having product come into the portfolio in a very systematic sort of cadence. And so we're growing and building that channel. It takes a lot of different forms. We can buy one-off new build. We can buy communities sort of in a new build configuration. We also have a merchant build program. So there's a number of different sort of channels within that subset. But I would say even today, which is a very unique point in our business, is that 100% of what's in our pipeline right now is a new build product, and that's a unique point in time for Invitation Homes. That's never been the case. It's always been a mixture. It's been disproportionately resale product that's been in our pipeline, and now it's new build.
Wow, well, I mean, taking that into account, what do you think is different about Invitation Homes' approach within build to rent then?
Sure. Look, I think there's been a lot of experimentation with how the SFR space is sort of utilizing that growth channel. I think for Invitation Homes, we've been very deliberate from the very beginning in taking a very capital light approach to it. So, in other words, not buying land, not taking on the infrastructure. We think that there are very, very good builders in this country that have been building for decades upon decades. And so we want to prevail upon that expertise to build homes for us. I think the secret sauce is in those partnerships, is working with them so they deliver product that's purpose built for our mode of operation. And we have found that that has been the right mixture for us as a business. And we continue to grow existing partnerships and create new ones.
Well, speaking of growing new partnerships, we're here live at IMN's Single Family Rental Forum. So what value have you found from attending? Why was it important for you and your team to be here this year?
Yeah, I've been coming here for the last 10 years. And so for me, it's valuable. There's ongoing relationships that meeting folks, here is always important. I think a lot of the panels, the subject matter has to stay relevant, and I think they do a very good job with that, keeping it relevant. And quite frankly, it's just, we have a couple of opportunities for all of us as an industry to gather together in one place. And so it's always been very valuable. And so it's a very productive 2 or 3 days while we're here.
Well, it's great to have you here, Peter. Thanks so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you so much.